Tonight, the WNET groups Exploring Hate and All Arts present Can I Laugh at That? A conversation about comedy during trying times. Featuring comedians Alex Edelman, Negin Farsad, Mike Yard, and our host, Judy Gold.
Hey, everyone. Welcome. I'm so excited for this event, and it's going to be awesome. I'm Judy Gold. Welcome to our panel discussion. Can I laugh at that? We're talking about comedy this evening and the role comedians play during difficult times like these. I mean, come on. The country is politically polarized and paralyzed. We're witnessing an alarming spike in anti-Semitism, racism, and extremism. There's trouble at home, there's trouble abroad, and on top of all that, we're still living through a global pandemic. These are not funny times. But humor, as Mel Brooks once said, is just another defense against the universe. Comedy, as you hear tonight, has always been used as a shield to deflect anger, judgment, and hate. And it's also a weapon. And since ancient times, people have instinctively known that laughing is good for you. In fact, that saying that we've all heard a million times, laughter is the best medicine, it is so old that it's actually derived from the book of Proverbs. But as you can imagine, the terrain can be very tricky for comedians in 2022. Now, I write all about this and more in my book. Yes, I can say that. When they come for the comedians, we are all in trouble. Please buy it. I have a kid in college. And joining me tonight, there are three comedians who I absolutely adore, whose hilarious takes on tough topics have audiences laughing a lot and listening even more. First up, my friend, my son, Alex Edelman, who is the star of the very critically acclaimed one-man show. I would call it a one-person show if I were, politically correct. Just for Us, it is a huge hit. And in this show, he discusses infiltrating a meeting of white supremacists in Queens. He was the only Jewish person in the room. The show has sold out multiple off-Broadway theaters, and it's currently playing an encore, which is not the first encore, ladies and gentlemen, and they thems, engagement at the Greenwich House Theater in New York City. Please welcome my friend, the wonderful Alex Edelman.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, Alex. How are you?
I'm in the basement of that theater right now. And
yeah, I noticed that you were in a theater, and yeah, it's looking good. Are you and you're performing this evening, correct?
Yeah, I'm performing this evening, and Judy came opening night.
I did.
Night and came, and yes, nothing happens worth talking about in comedy in New York without Judy Gold being there. So,
oh my God, I will send you your
allowance.
Yeah. Yeah, right after this great event this evening. Okay. I love Alex. Negin Farsad. Amazing, smart, brilliant. I guess smart and brilliant are the same, but she's more brilliant. She's the author of How to Make White People Laugh. Huffington Post named her one of its 50 funniest women. Of course, I was number one. Okay, I wasn't. Among her many accomplishments, she directed and produced the 2012 comedy documentary, The Muslims Are Coming. Ladies, gentlemen, they, thems, Negin Farsad.
Hey,
Negin, it's so great to see you.
Oh, so good to see you. It's so great to be introduced with a credit from 10 years ago.
I didn't write it, and as I was reading it, I thought, she's done a lot of stuff.
I was. It would have been great if I had been cryogenically frozen in 2012 and then just reawoken today. And then,
but you wouldn't have a child, would you?
That's true. Then I wouldn't have had a child.
Yeah. So maybe, yeah. I'm sorry. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, no.
Negin, you're the best. I don't even know what to say about our next. I was going to say contestant. It's
Yeah,
he's
our next potential.
our
winner.
next game show contestant. I adore. I mean, I adore Alex and Negin, but I just love this guy. Mike Yard was born in St. Croix. He moved with his family to East New York, Brooklyn in 1986. He is hilarious and such an interesting guy. What a life he's had. He has appeared on everything from Def Comedy Jam to Inside Amy Schumer. And most recently, he was a writer and correspondent on Comedy Central's The Nightly Show with Larry Wilmore, which was a great show. And I can't believe it's not on. My friend and lover, Mike Yard, is here.
Delicious. Judy Gold.
I love
Hi.
you, Mike.
Thanks for having me, Judy.
And and I just want to say, I have a podcast called Kill Me Now. Everyone on this panel has been a guest. And so you should go back and listen.
Told you my whole life story on that one.
You can, that's right. You can read much more about everyone here tonight and find links to our shows and books by clicking the links in the chat. Okay, everyone, I love you. Let's get talking. It's sort of like, I mean, it's a weird time to be a comedian, as you all know, but it's also a great time. And I've always said that when we've had Republican presidents, the comedy was better politically. It was much better because we're critical thinkers and people are angry. But we had a period of 4 years where comedy was under assault, and it's continued to be under assault. And right now we are in a period of bad news. I mean, it's all bad news. People are depressed. It's awful. And it's bad news has always been fodder for comedians. I would like to start with Alex and ask him, and I'm not going to give anything away about your brilliant show Just for Us, which everyone needs to see. But talking about current events and bad news, your show is rooted in your experience with online anti-Semitism.
Sure.
How has your work responded to current events, and what kind of feedback have you gotten?
I have to say that this might not be the answer that is expected, but I think that that it isn't sort of like right versus left for me at the moment. For me, it's nuance versus binary. And so I think what's been surprising for people about my comedy, and by the way, I happen to fall more on the lefty side of the political spectrum.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Get off.
I know.
I'm
Shocking.
kidding.
Shocking.
Yeah, shocking.
But I do think that the left that I'm a part of is guilty in some ways of, buying into, I don't want to be like they started it, even though I do think, the guy who was the last president turned the volume up to, 100 on a, 1 to 10 on a 1 to 10 speaker. But I think what it is really is, I think the reason the show is resonating with people is that it's an insistence on nuance in an environment meeting of people who have what I feel to be white supremacist views, and a actual discursive environment, which is the one that we live in now, that insists on nuance. Because I think that what comedy can do is parse nuance and overcome binary. Like, there are comics who I disagree with and who do jokes that I disagree with.
Yeah, I think all of us experience that.
Yeah, but sometimes the craft is good enough to merit the joke and communicate.
Absolutely, right.
And so I think that's something that I know that I liked years ago, and I have found in my own life to be harder to enjoy over the last couple of years. So I think leaning into nuance for me has been the reason. It's easier to do comedy when there's a Republican president is because comedy is inherently progressive, and
right.
There's no episode of a sitcom where they insist on a higher health premium for by the end,
right.
people grow more warm-hearted as opposed to more like pragmatic, so like comedy is inherently progressive. It works with in a Republican world, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's
I love that you mentioned nuance, and I want to also, later on talk about intent, but nuance is so important, which we don't get on a social media post. There is no nuance. Negin, you are known as a social justice sort of comedian. What is, how is that part of your job? And why did you make that part of your job? And how do people respond to this because everyone is so polarized and divided? Do you feel that you have this sort of special role to say things that other people can't?
Well, okay, so first of all, it was like a million years ago that someone was like, "Oh, you're a political comic,"
Right.
like a good journalist or something. And I said, "Well, I wouldn't say I'm a political comic because I'm not out here trying to write jokes about Mitch McConnell or whatever. I feel like I'm more, and I just said, I don't know, more like a social justice comedian where I'm trying to like just write jokes about like what things are obviously just and what things are obviously
right
or something." And so that was just like a distinction I made so that I didn't that felt less partisan to me. You know what I mean?
Do you like having that sort of label?
Well, it's funny because now there's like a whole thing of like social justice warriors being super annoying and all that stuff, and I can totally see that, and I don't want to be associated as in the annoying camp. So that's one thing that I
never would happen.
But yeah, that's something that I don't love. But I do think, I mean, what happened to me, for me personally, is that like I look like, like all of us here, I have a master's degree in African American studies and another one in public policy, right? Because you need both of those.
Of course, I do.
We all have that.
I'm also an astronaut and an OBGYN. So I just
right. And like, look, we all are. And so the thing is, I got those degrees. I was a policy advisor for the city of New York. Like I interned for Hillary Clinton and Charlie Rangel. And can you guess my political affiliation? Don't worry about it. I'm such a hardcore Republican. And so I was really deeply committed, and I was committed to a life of public service. And when, when it became increasingly clear that I needed to quit that job and go into comedy, because I was doing comedy on the side the whole time, like I didn't want to just do this like narcissistic job. I wanted to at least have some measure, some like my mini component of public service in what I was doing. So that's when I sort of started at, look, my first job was like, truly writing jokes about like, at the time, it must have been Nick Jonas's abs, right? Like that's mostly
right.
But I also like,
and I had a bit on that too.
Who's Nick Jonas?
You would not have been very good at this job.
Yeah.
So I did all of the kind of like the jobs with the the kind of garbagey pop culture jobs or whatever, which were great. And but I also like wanted to be able to do something and fighting for immigrant rights, at like as a Muzz and the children of immigrants. Like I wanted to, and also this is, in the years after 9/11 when we were really steeped in Islamophobia, the birther movement.
Yeah, that's changed a lot. That's changed a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, we're super just cool with Muslims now. It's done.
Yeah.
Thanks to everything I've done. But I feel like, it just made sense for me to be able to like toggle between doing things about, just dumb things about dating and farts, and then doing like more substantive things, mixing the two, and that just kind of helped me like sleep at night. It was really mostly that.
I love it. You're hilarious, and your clock is wrong, by the way, but it'll be right twice a day. So
it doesn't.
Mike.
Yes.
I find you are an anomaly to me, because first of all, you're so smart, and your jokes are so smart. Your comedy is so smart.
Well, thank you.
And yet, you're not. people expect one thing from you when you get on stage, I'm sure, and they get not what they're expecting. And when you wrote for Larry Wilmore, your take on current events, it wasn't what, I think the guests, I don't think people expected you to have the opinions you have, which are all based on your life experience. But what I love about your comedy, and something that you have said, is that, I'm sorry.
Sorry, my phone just fell. Sorry.
Oh my God. Forget
Go ahead.
it. You have said that comedy is a good way to start and have a conversation. And your comedy is very conversational. What do you think is the most important conversation, or not just one thing, that you can have, or what is the conversation you would love to have after, someone sees your stand-up?
Well, thank you for saying that, because when I started comedy, that was my goal. I wanted my comedy to come off like a conversation, like you were in my living room and we were just having a little chat, but I was the only one talking, That's how I wanted it to come off. So I worked very hard at that. But I think that the reason people don't expect me, like, that's why I got into a big fight with Al Sharpton on the Nightly Show, because I said some stuff that he was shocked at. But I'm very practical and very logical. I don't deal really, when it comes to things that affect my life, I don't let emotions control it. And I feel like this is where we're at right now. It's all about emotion. Nobody's talking to each other. We're just mad right now, and we're throwing tantrums, and we've been throwing tantrums for a while. So what I try to do is I don't speak judgmentally. When I come in, I really want to know why it is that you believe these things that you believe. And I'm not trying to judge you. I really just want to know why, because here's why I don't.
Right.
And then I'll lay out
this curiosity that is infectious. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's the only way we can talk to each other. Instead of pointing fingers, ask them why. Why do you believe Donald Trump so much? Why? When all of this is out there, explain to me what it is that you're getting from him. You know what I mean? That's how I try to approach it, instead of, because I wouldn't want to sit in the audience and feel like somebody's judging me. And I don't have any malice for anybody in my heart. I just want to know, if you hate Black people, why? Let's talk.
Right. And I love that approach. This is a question for all of you. What do you, George Carlin, of course, said that it's the comedian's job to find
Great
the
job
line.
on the documentary, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
but it's the comedian's job to find the line, cross it, and make the audience glad that you did. I'm paraphrasing. What do you guys, I'm not allowed to say guys, what do you people think is the comedian's role? And do comedians have is it because I think you have a microphone, use it wisely. Do you think that we have, because I think we're all social commentators, do you think we have a special role to say things that other people can't? Alex?
I think that'd be nice. And I think that's a nice idea. But I don't know that that's the way the world is anymore. Like I just want to be like honest about, because the thing is, like, I happen to think that like that's a really lovely notion,
right?
But I just don't think it's true anymore.
But like, you're saying it was true at one point. I mean, we had the Mort Sauls,
our culture, our polite culture, like, is very polite, and is changed now than it was when Carlin.
Oh, 100%.
Like, our polite culture is sensitive and politically correct, and for the better, and empathetic and thoughtful about differentiated experience. And so to be a line crosser now means something different than it was a long time ago, right? Like, I would say that for the better, not just from a political perspective, but from a craft perspective, I would say that our culture is center left, like slightly left leaning, and so to be like a line crosser, all I'm saying is I happen to notice that a lot of the line crossers are assholes. So
right, but
so like I would like it if we were like still the like
right.
I think challenging orthodoxy is important, and I think that's a really useful mode for comedians and comedy people. But I just don't know about the realism of like habitual line stepping being like the. Although it would be nice. It'd be nice if comedians were being brave.
Right, but we don't. We're powerless. I noticed, Mike or Negin, I noticed, I never noticed before the impact the president of the United States has as far as how we behave as human beings in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that when Alex says, the people who are crossing the line are sometimes assholes, I think that they think that crossing the line means to be an asshole when it doesn't. I think it's about critical thinking. But I want to know what you guys, think about this sort of. I guess it's a responsibility that we have, and
I think it's really changed. I mean, the responsibility now almost seems. I think you're right, Alex. Line crossing isn't really like the line crossing isn't the revolutionary act it once was, because assholes have taken it over.
Right.
Appropriated line crossing, and I think what comedians sort of like. One of the things that I felt was sort of my duty in I have a podcast, Fake the Nation, which Judy's.
I love that podcast. I love that podcast.
And one of the things we talked about a lot in 2020 is like, we're only doing optimism. We even had T-shirts made that said we're only doing optimism, because I think the revolutionary act now for me as a comedian is to like be nice. And then this is what I try to do, to be compassionate to strangers I've never met, right? To be compassionate to people that who I may disagree with, and to understand that they're being riled up by many media forces, and they're being riled up by the previous president to be like not nice and to be jerks, and so I'm trying to kind of find a way to be able to communicate with them and to constantly de-escalate. I mean, the number of times people
de-escalation is really
yes, like, I mean, I'm sure you guys feel this all the time as well. Like I'm constantly just de-escalating Twitter things where the people try and anger me, try and insult me or whatever, and then I just say, thanks so much for reaching out. I really hear you, and then I throw in a friendly emoji, because when they go low, we go emoji, and that is my. That's how I live.
Mike is chomping at the bed, and I love it.
I don't understand what line crossing means. What does that mean, crossing the line? Who decides what the line is?
Right.
Listen, everything ain't for everybody. I'm not wasting my time trying to please people who don't want to be pleased. There are going to be people who like what I do and people who don't. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much you smile at them, they're just not going to like you. Okay? I did a joke one time in Vegas about I asked, is there anybody in the military? And this guy said his son was in the military, right? So I said, okay, what branch? He said the Navy. So I was like, well, they don't really fight. They kind of launch rockets and look like, I think I hit something. I said, but I could never join. The joke was basically about me being a coward and not being able to, but he was offended because I said.
Because he didn't listen to the
He didn't hear me, because that's what I'm saying. So why am I going to waste time? People that come to comedy clubs, they don't know anything about comedy. So why am I giving them power? They have no power when I'm there. None. I take you where I'm going to take you. If you want to be sensitive, then this is not for you.
Right.
Everything ain't for everybody. That's how I approach it. And that's why I don't know what the line is, but I've gone into rooms with predominantly right-leaning people, and I've dogged Donald Trump. But the way that I do it is not judgy. It's like, this is, my brain works like this. So when I see these ridiculous things and you like it, I need to know why.
Sure, but but there is a general sense of the line, right?
What is it though? What is it? I don't know what it is.
Diffuse now, right? I mean, that's the part of the thing of like, in Carlin's time, it was a really clear patriarchy. There was a really clear ruling class, and now
and that's changed a lot.
more people have more voices. I mean,
right.
like, whatever, there's still, the 1% that have all the money or whatever, but like there's more people have more voices, and I think that's true culturally. Like, I don't think we could pretend like things haven't improved on that front.
Listen, I feel like as long as you're not coming at something maliciously, it doesn't matter. You should be able to talk about anything. If you're not deliberately trying to hurt somebody's feelings, I think you should be able to talk about anything you want to talk about. Let the market decide.
It's also the fact that
Adam wrote a book about comedy. I didn't know.
Sometimes I get sad that there aren't better comedians who are really, really far from how I feel. Like, sometimes I get sad that there aren't any good right-wing comedians, because like there aren't. Like, there are a few people who term themselves like loosely right-wing, but the comedians that I've seen, and I've gone to comedy clubs to see comedians who turn themselves as like the conservative comedian,
right.
And it's always bad. And like it's not good for the culture to have a monoculture. And like, I'm not saying that we have one, because like obviously there's, there are comics addressing it's not as if, by the way, it's not as if comedy still doesn't address inequality and, important issues and speak in succinct ways to other but like, it is depressing that there aren't any good Republican comedians in the United States.
And can I just say something for the audience? This is not a partisan, we're not trying to be partisan. I think that, I had Mike knows at the Cellar. We all know at the Cellar, there are plenty of people with different political views, and we all get along, and we all, share a stage together.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, specifically from 2016 to 2020, we had someone who really was not great for comedy as far as wanting SNL to be investigated, not attending the White House Correspondents' Dinner, making us the enemy, because comedy is a weapon. But I think you have to use it wisely.
But Judy, what's worse is that he made it so easy to figure out what was correct.
Right.
Which is like, I think my big statement, I guess like my big sum up is this. Like, I think people mistake, like there's very little brave comedy anymore, because what's right and what's brave are two different things. And so like, Donald Trump made it very clear to know what was right and correct, because it wasn't him. But to do brave, like you couldn't do brave comedy about like anti-Trump comedy. It wasn't brave. Like everyone,
right.
Like as Judy said, there's like a panoply of opinions at the Comedy Cellar among comedians, but like pretty much every comedian in the like in our world of mainstream comedy or alternative comedy, like thought that Donald Trump was insane.
I don't think so. Mike, do you think so?
No, I don't think Donald Trump is insane. I think Donald Trump is a con man, and they're good. The con men are brilliant, man. They're brilliant at manipulating people. They're really good at it. I grew up with a lot of them, and I see him in a lot of cats I grew up with. He's a con man. People keep calling him stupid, and that's why he wins, because you keep calling him stupid.
No, but as far as comedians are concerned,
what?
There are people who are very pro-Trump at this.
Oh yeah, there are some comics that are pro-Trump, and I'm not anti anything. I'm not pro. I'm not left or right. I have, I'm legitimately a guy that has some very right-leaning views and some very left-leaning views,
which is great.
I don't align myself with any group, because I can think freely and be able to, differentiate between certain things, what's right and what's wrong. I don't join gangs, and that's what's going on right now. It's all, we're just two gangs now. It's the same thing as the block.
I want to just echo though something that Alex is talking about, which is that the comedy on the right is just not flourishing.
That's sad that they don't have
Right.
better, right? I really wish they had.
I have really been really rooting for that Gutfeld
Right.
show on
Oh,
Fox
he's just mean.
because I really
he's-
think
yeah.
part of the problem in on the right is that they have turned to news as entertainment, and news shouldn't be entertainment.
Right.
News should be news. And the thing with the news that the Fox News is designed to just anger people. It's supposed to just really get those juices going, and it's not fun, and it's not meant to be the thing with humor is that it's supposed to be fun and self-deprecating. It's supposed to like take you, have you see something in a different light, and you're supposed to kind of feel better after you watch comedy, right? And I think one of the problems I had, I'm not a Gutfeld completist by any means. I've probably seen like 20 minutes altogether, but the 20 minutes that I had seen were like more angry, and again, sort of an
It's about it is an angry. I mean,
they need something that's more fun and self-deprecating to lower the temperature. I think everyone we need media that lowers the temperature. Like there's really no like actual reason that we should be this
right.
divided.
But it's like what Mike said about, his comedy is rooted in curiosity. It's not rooted in hate. And, I have been on, I did the Gutfeld show before it was the Gutfeld show, and it was just a panel thing with comedians. And I cannot tell you, just for being me and being funny and having my opinions, the hate mail, the anti-Semitism, the homophobia, the meanest messages. I can't even, they're just awful. It's like, no, that's not what comedy is. I want to just move on a little bit. I know we all have bits that we did in the past that are not, that maybe went too far, except for Alex. And
I have those too, but I know specifically what you're talking about.
Yeah. So we had bits that, we've joked about that are not funny today because the world is a different place. Words have different meanings. We've had different experiences. I think we all agree that you can joke about anything as long as it is a well-crafted joke. I think we established that. But if you're going to joke about a subversive topic like race, religion, sex, politics, and we know it has to be funny, do you think that we should be more dangerous? Do you think that certain people can only joke about certain topics? We're all besides Alex and I are Jews, from observant families. I'm gay. Sorry, in case anyone was interested. Negin, you're a Muslim. Mike,
we're also taken.
And her husband is so hot. Okay, and I'm a lesbian, and I'm saying how hot. Mike, I don't know what you are. I'm kidding. But we've all had different life experiences, which feeds into our material. These are my questions in that regard. What are you allowed to joke about that I'm not allowed to joke about? Mike, can we start with you?
I personally don't believe. I came up in black rooms, the chilling circuit, and there were a lot of white comics, specifically Rich Voss, who would come in and talk about anything. He would talk about black people, but everybody knew that he was coming with the place that he was coming from. So he would kill. He's the first white guy to do Def Comedy Jam.
Right.
So I don't subscribe to you can't talk about things. I made a choice to stay away from certain things that I won't talk about, namely like rape jokes and stuff like that. I wouldn't attempt those. But I think that, if it's a well-crafted joke, you should be able to talk about it,
I agree. Alex?
If I'm being honest, I really watch my step now.
Yeah.
I just I don't know.
Do you think I don't feel that because I'm a minority, like I'm black? Do you think I don't feel like I have to watch my step because of that?
I think
I'm asking you an honest question, Alex. Yeah. Let's have the conversation. Do you think that you guys maybe put a little bit more pressure on yourself because you're white?
I do it because I'm not sure of the shifting ethic. Like I really think that I did one joke. I've done jokes in the past that I wouldn't do now. None of them are, none of them horrify me. But there are some where I was like, that wasn't great. I used to do a joke about somebody's weight. And then I was like, and by the way, we haven't reached a point as a culture where that's unacceptable yet, but it felt gross to me and I stopped.
Was the person nice or a bad person?
They weren't offended. It was
okay.
in the, they
okay. So the person wasn't offended, but you didn't feel right about it.
I made it nameless. It was one throwaway line in a joke. I worked in a restaurant. This person came in and I described them as fat with a line that always really killed. But like in terms of like being a minority, like I have a lot of opinions that I don't feel comfortable expressing on stage. Like really? I just have lots of tons. Like first of all, my whole show was an exploration of Judaism's relationship to whiteness. It's a 90-minute show. And like over the course of a 90-minute show, I can communicate that complexity. But most of my sets are 15 minutes at a comedy set.
Right.
So like, I'm not going to be, bringing up complex issues. I'm not going to be like, that's why I'm a long form comedian. That's why I do solo shows so that I can, try to communicate.
Get a point across. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, there's a lot I won't talk about. And because I'm afraid of cancellation, even though or anyone who makes anything, criticism in a substantial way, I'm sure is a constant fear. But like, I feel like we're in a really weird moment and I really watch my step. My cure for that is that I try to never generalize. I try to say in my own personal experience, or I try to talk about
right
as a way around, in my 90-minute show, I never generalize. I also don't talk about Jews. Like I talk about the experience of being Jewish,
right?
But with the exception of Judy, Gary Goldman, Elon Gold, and Modi, there are no comedians who talk about. There are no comedians, especially my age, who talk about Jews in a way that makes me comfortable. So, like, even with my own people, even with people, a group that I feel a part of, I try very hard to never generalize. And like, I feel like the new world that we're entering, in like the 2020s. Is a world where generalization and binary is fraught with danger and difficulty. And so, there's a lot of stuff.
Negin, I want to ask you this. I write in my book about stereotypes and about how they didn't come out of thin air, that they are literally a history lesson. If you really investigate why are, Jews considered this, why are Blacks considered that? Why are Muslims, and you go back and you see the history. Okay. That being said, we haven't talked about misogyny, which is a huge issue.
Nick and I are very excited to weigh in whenever.
Yes.
You
I can't wait to let y'all know what I think about the ladies.
There we go. Okay.
I got something to set in.
Okay. This is relatable to everyone. I know. I did my first set at 19. I'm 59, and I know as a woman getting on stage, and if you go back in history and you watch Jean Carroll and Moms Mabley and Toady Fields and Sophie Tucker and Phyllis Diller and all these women would get on stage and sort of do a disclaimer like. I know, because you walk on stage. I would be introduced, like that would be in my intro. Our next comic is female. She's tall. I mean, that's how they. We got a woman comic coming up next, and I would get on stage and say, "Oh, that's our MC. He is male. He has a penis and testicles." And that's how that's the only way they stopped doing it for me. But we have. I wonder. Do you And I think this applies to Mike too. I get on stage that people see something, and they are like, "Whoa, what's that?" And I sort of have to do a disclaimer, or something self-deprecating to say, "I know my place in the world. I know what you're thinking. Okay, and we're going to move on from that." And I remember when I came out of the closet as 1996, and I was the only gay comic who worked in the mainstream clubs, and I came out as a gay parent. And I remember once I came out, the audience, I would do my bits, and then the minute I said I had kids and I'm, lesbian, there was a shift, and I had to be like, you liked me 5 minutes ago. I'm the same person.
Crazy.
Do you, as a woman, when you get on stage, still feel that need to sort of disarm people?
Okay, so a couple of things, like, first of all, I do wonder at what point I will stop feeling like I have to disarm people, like I have to address the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is that I'm on stage and you're like, what is that name? I can't pronounce it.
Right.
He's ethnically ambiguous. There's a lot going on. I need an explanation, or else I can't feel comfortable unless I get an explanation. So I usually have some just kind of like, listen, I'm Muslim American, I'm Iranian, blah, 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 blah. And I give it a thing, and I try and have a joke in there. I try and, I of course, self-deprecation is a big part of that. And it's just sort of like, hey, everybody, I know that and it's the same. If I came on stage, dressed as as a literal elephant, people would connect, right? And so I'm just basically doing that, except for like, the elephant is the ethnic ambiguity. And so that, I think, happens. And then the other thing is, like, Alex and Mike talked about what feeling like that they, especially Alex talking about like feeling that he has to like think about what he's going to say, and treading lightly. And I think part of like lady Muslim privilege,
right?
Because we all have our forms of privilege, but I think a part of lady Muslim privilege is that I feel maybe 5%, just 5% more able to talk about whatever, and I feel like I tread just a little less.
But don't you think, because of who you are, and I think this is as far as all of us,
yeah, there's part of a marginalized group, you have a little bit more license to talk about marginalized groups, and that, I mean, I wrote a musical called The Israeli-Palestinian Conflict, a romantic comedy. And here's the deal, like, I am neither Israeli.
Can I be in it? Okay, good. Sorry.
I'm not Israeli, I'm not Jewish, and I'm not Arab, and I'm not Palestinian, right? And yet I felt completely within my rights to write this musical, and nobody questioned an Iranian experience.
Right.
And that is my lady Muslim privilege, right? Like, I never got any hate mail. Like, why is society letting her write this musical? Like, I know it was nothing like that. And I think it's just because they're like, well, a brown person can do brown person stuff. And that was kind of like the reasoning that people had. But I do think it's interesting. It's 2022. Obviously, it's easier to be a woman in comedy, but I did a show in Kansas City at a major club, and I was still the only woman on the lineup.
Can I just tell you something? I just want to say this. I think people don't understand. When I started, if there was a woman on the show, it would be one woman. And we never got to work together. There was one club downtown called Comedy U Grand on Grand Street, and on every Thursday night they had all women comedians, and that was the only night we got to work together. And to this day, 3 white guys on a show is a comedy show. 3 women on a show is ladies' night out, hysterical. 3 black guys on a show, or 3 people of color, is urban night out. When
Chocolate Sundays.
Chocolate Sundays.
Yeah, chocolate Sunday.
Yeah.
When do you think? Do you find this as? I mean, this annoys me to no end. I won't do shows that are like whores, and I won't do them. And yet we all need stage time. But does this affect any of you? Like, do you think, oh my God, when is this going to end? Or do you say, okay, it's an opportunity for me to, be in front of an audience who likes
Are you saying that's how it is now?
I think it is. a lot. It's still like that, not
There's
as much
still
as it
remnants.
was.
Yeah, there's still remnants of that. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And you go on the road. I mean, it's much better. But I never was. I was in comedy condos. I was the only woman. It was scary, you
Yeah, those
know?
condos can be scary. I mean, I had it happen to me. Like I've had, and I've, and it's fascinating to me. Like this is the only business where the people in charge feel that they could tell you whatever they could use. They could say, I had the guy that booked the comic strip. He asked me to come down and audition because he saw me at like a produced show, and then I came down and I auditioned. I killed. And then he goes, that was really good. I go, so, okay. So he said, I really like you. I go, so what's the process? He goes, well, right now I have enough black comics, so I can't really use you. And he went on to say, I really have no room for you. Mike Britt and Todd Lynn was alive at the time. He goes, Todd Lynn is the flavor of the month.
Yeah, you
so
guys are exactly
I
alike.
said, I just do comedy, right? I'm just a black dude that does comedy. I'm not a black comic. I thought you said you listened to me. And this is the only place where they could tell you that. The dude from Caroline's told Eddie Griffin one time that he couldn't get on a Kevin Meaney show for 5 minutes because the audience was too white for him.
Oh my, I remember in the 80s, I would call clubs up to try to book myself. I'd say, oh, I was on Caroline's Comedy Hour, Evening of the Improv, or VH1. And they literally would say to me, oh, we had a woman headliner here 3 months ago. She didn't do well.
Oh my God.
So we're not hiring women. And I'd be, and every guy who's been on your stage has just killed, See,
this is the ridiculousness that I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, I mean the like no more than one rule as a
right.
Like, I've had like a very famous person told my manager once, like it was down to me and something or whatever for a job, and they told my manager like, well, we already have an Indian person on the cast, which is hilarious because I'm also not Indian, but we just get lumped into like that part of the world.
Right.
And so that rule has just been, operational for a very, very long time.
Right.
And still is like quietly operational, depending on which particular ethnic group you might be in. They don't want to seem overrepresenting of something,
But
it's never too many white guys, though.
Right.
That's the thing. You're never overrepresented. They never say that we have too many white guys on the show. That's never a thing. That's the problem. Right. I don't mind you telling me that, but tell everybody that.
Right.
Exactly. I hear too many white guys sometimes, but it's like it's extremely sometimes white comics complain to me.
My God, yes.
In whispered tones, they don't want white guys. And I always think to myself, like,
that's fascinating. That
I hear it too. You don't know what it's like. Oh, please.
I'm always like, first of all, what part of undeniable don't you understand? I was like, second of all, even if that were true, what part of being the best don't you understand?
Right.
And second of all, and please let me finish this thought. Otherwise, if you cut me off in the middle, it's going to sound like I'm I was about to curse but I think right now there is a curiosity and a hunger for differentiated voices.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to differentiate yourself. There are other ways to differentiate yourself than, if you're talented. And if you're not talented and you're white and you haven't figured out the way to differentiate your perspective, you're just like, they don't want it. I'm like, well, that's because just being a barely competent comedian isn't enough anymore. We're bored. We want different voices, more interesting voices. So sometimes people are like, well, they don't want white guys. And what I want to say, but I never do is man, your voice isn't differentiated enough. You haven't, you just haven't figured out a way.
It takes years to figure out your point of view.
Can I tell you? I'm so glad that you said that, because when I was told by the booker at the strip,
by the way, he said the same thing to me, Mike. He went, I have enough Jews.
Oh, he did. So crazy. So what I did was, instead of getting angry, I just said, you know what, you're gonna get to a point where you can't deny that you have to book me. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And then I made enough noise to where he started booking me. And
I'll tell you, when I auditioned, and it was a different person in 19, I think it was 82 or 83.
In
1867, when I auditioned, and Lucian, God rest his soul, he was a great guy. But when I first auditioned, he said, "You know, you're tall, you're a woman, you're Jewish. I don't know what kind of market there is for female Jewish comedians." I was like, "Are there any others?"
What?
It's 1980. But this leads me into my
You can
this
tell I'm from
question.
the hood because I didn't say his name, but Judy did.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Richie. Richie
yeah.
and Lucian.
Yeah.
I don't want to snitch. You know what I'm saying?
Now, as a Jew, I'm just going to say, like most marginalized people, Jews have a very well-developed sense of humor. And my mother always said, this was a quote, "If we weren't laughing, we'd be crying every day."
Mhm.
I want to know, we're all minorities here. Alex is less of a minority. I'm kidding. But
That's why they stormed the Capitol, because of stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I mean, you could have, well, not with that face.
Hey, think there were Jews at the Capitol?
You don't think
please,
so?
No.
Mm.
First of
think
all,
there-
we're not.
I think there were more
So there's
Vikings
no
at the
angry Jews
Capitol.
in the country. There
What?
might have been. There was a lot of people there. There was. I saw some black people, and
Yeah. It's
yeah.
ridiculous.
So you can't tell me there were no Jews there.
I'm sure there were some.
Sure there were.
I mean, they were brimming with Iranians.
There were a lot of Muslims there.
The
Well, that's a
Iranians
different
were,
story.
the Iranians were storming the Capitol for a different reason and were
Yeah.
confused about why everybody else was there.
Well, the Iranians, they could maybe sell some rugs to the White House.
Doesn't the leader of the Proud Boys seem a bit ethnic?
Yes,
What is that about?
I don't
Anyway.
know. So my question is,
Mhm.
I'm sweating.
minority perspectives. Do you think and I'm going to say, I do think that it lends itself to great comedy. Do you agree? And also, I just want to say that, piggybacking on the white men who are like, it's really been hard for us, and we can't get, and I'm just like, you live in the world for 5 minutes as a 6'2" Jewish lesbian, and you tell me what you want to complain about. Okay. But do you think minority voices lends to great comedy? Because I do.
I think the Minority Voices lends to great comedy because it's a really universal feeling, even though it's coming from a minority perspective, because it doesn't matter what
Right.
differentiates you. Either you're a person of color, or you're LGBTQ plus, or you're a Red Sox fan who lives in New York City. Like, it doesn't matter what sets you apart. Everyone has that feeling that at times they're set apart, right? And so that's what the comedy from our communities kind of like brings to the fore, and that's why everybody sort of can get on board, because we all feel that way at some point for whatever reason.
Right.
What she said.
I agree. I mean, yeah. I mean, different perspectives. You get to learn,
Well, it also can, I think it brings people together. I think, when I did 25 Questions for a Jewish Mother, which was a show I did, it ran off Broadway for a few years. And then I went on tour, and it was about interviews with Jewish mothers. And it was based on the fact that I had just become a Jewish mother. And I was like investigating if they're all alike, which they weren't. And people came to that show and would be like, I'm Southern Baptist, and I totally have the same mother as you. And people in like tatted with goth makeup on going, oh my God. And it was just, a mother is a universal figure. Yeah, go ahead.
And just in terms of minority, minority perspectives, any perspective lends itself well to comedy. Any sharply defined perspective lends itself well to comedy, which is why earlier I was like, God, I wish there was a good Republican comedian, because that is a, and by the way, I'm not like, hey, television networks, please try, because they have tried conservative comedy. It is not very good.
Right.
But, I'm saying, like, a sharply defined perspective. Someone said to me once that the best comedy in the world is a Republican character written by Democrats. and like,
well, that was
Or-
what Stephen Colbert did that.
but they mean an actual Republican, because like I said,
Right.
he's inherently progressive. So at the beginning of the episode, the character doesn't get something, like Archie Bunker doesn't get something, and by the end of the episode, he's grown and learned a little bit. Like that is
Right.
a really good character. A Republican written by Norman Lear. Like that is.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like I think a diversity of perspectives, minority perspectives, like any perspective lends itself on the comment.
Now, all of us, I think, were affected by the slap. I mean, I've known Chris. We started together, and they used to have a backup at Catch a Rising Star on the weekend shows because no one had cell phones. And if you were running late or stuck in a subway or whatever, and you couldn't get your spot on time, they hired 2 comedians to sit at the bar and get paid.
Oh, wow.
Wow, they don't do that anymore.
I know. Well,
there weren't
because
as
we have
many
cell
comedians,
phones.
I'm guessing.
And it was me and Chris Rock. We were the 2 backups. And just in case someone couldn't make their spot. And I love Chris. And when I saw that slap, knowing him, I knew people were like, "Oh, is that planned?" And I knew it wasn't planned. And it scared me. I thought, how is this first of all, and then he gets a standing ovation. Like it really had an effect on me. I became physically nauseous from watching Chris get assaulted. Are any of you? I mean, Alex, you have this off-Broadway, huh?
I'm not scared.
Off-Broadway show. I mean, is anyone scared? Is anyone frightened?
No, I'm not.
They're cowards for the most part.
Yeah.
Like they are. The funny thing is, my big fear was that one of them would be upset and have their feelings. Feelings, or that they'd show up and every night I look into the audience and look for, a couple of distinctive features from the people that I remember. And but my concern isn't that they'll stand up and try to do something and hurt me.
Right.
The concern is that they'll be like, that's an unfair characterization of how I feel about Confederate statues, or something like that. But I will, I have been at some points, I have been in situations that are tricky, physical situations, because people are upset about something that I said on stage or something that I said about someone. In 2016, I said something about Donald Trump in Florida, and after the show, there was some but for the most part, maybe I'm naive. I just don't feel it. And with regards to the slap, Judy, I agree with you, but also people start putting up signs like "protect our comedians."
Right.
It was like, this is insane. This is what I mean when I talk about a binary. That's nuts. And then I saw on Twitter, young comedy people that I agree with were like, it's good that comedians are being taken to task.
Oh,
can't say with impunity. And I'm like, you're both ridiculous. You're both little, I can't say the word, because we're not allowed to curse here. I'm like, but you're losers. These are loser talks. Just to be it's good they're being hit or this is now a sacred cause.
Right.
I was furious at the slap. That was my initial reaction, because I felt like it was disrespectful to our craft. It was a bad joke. Yes. It was a bad joke. But you thought that because of a bad joke, I mean, it wasn't a great joke, but you thought because of a bad joke, you could just put hands on it. I've had a guy throw a bottle at me, so I'm not afraid of that. My thing is, that was a direct assault, and you did it on national television in one of the most watched events of the year, and you assaulted I was an assault on stand-up to me. He assaulted stand-up comedy. That's
I
how
agree.
I feel. And I have absolutely no love for Will Smith after that. He's done to me.
Same.
I feel, to me, the issue of whether or not you're safe kind of super duper precedes that moment. That just kind of was a big public thing that happened between, celebrities. And so part of it was they're celebrities, I don't care. But then so because for me, like, one of the first shows I did after Trump was elected was in Columbia, South Carolina, and they hired extra security because the theater got a lot of threats and stuff for having me there. This has happened to me multiple times where theaters will get complaints and threats, and then they, either there have been situations where they've asked me to hire extra security because I'm performing there. I did a show in Centralia, Washington once where people were there protesting me, right? Signs, you know what I mean? And which by the way, like, to me, these displays are of course I'm a person, and it's like makes me sad, but also to see a bunch of people protesting my show because, by the way, they thought I was going to convert everyone to Islam. And by the way, all of us doing this show together right now, you have all been converted to Islam. It just happens.
I felt it. I felt it.
Yeah. So welcome. But they thought that these guys were protesting me for that reason, and I thought the producers were so embarrassed and all that stuff. And I said, no, this is awesome. Like, these people are here protesting me, and they have every right to do so, and I have every right to perform, and we're just like letting the First Amendment rights play out, and it's great. And that's what's super wonderful about this country is that that's the case. And I invited them to come watch the show because it started raining. And I was like, you could come sit in the back, and then when the show's over, you could come right back out and keep protesting me. And they said, okay, well, actually, maybe we'll sit in the lobby. Is that cool? And I was like, yeah, totally, sit in the lobby, get out of the rain. And that's the thing. It's like, we have to be able to also just like have a dialogue with these people that, through just the ignorance that's being perpetrated by various media sources and various presidents, these people are getting the wrong idea about who I am and what I'm trying to do. And so I just have to like gently talk to them and hope that it works out. And so I've received many death threats or whatever, and my parents have received death threats on my behalf. I mean, it's never. I think also that's a little bit more of a lady thing. I don't know, Judy. If you
yes, I've had threats.
Yeah,
yes.
like people are a little bit more comfortable doing death threats against women. It's just
Right.
Oh no, there was a guy waiting to shoot me in the parking lot at a club in Miami. This guy was waiting to shoot me. I had to call the cops. He told me he was going to shoot me. And in Philly, a dude was waiting outside to fight me. Me, I'm 6'2", 215 pounds, and people still want to fight me. So it's about psychos. It ain't got nothing to do with anything with that.
True.
Right before the pandemic, I was doing this show in London, and someone threw a bottle at me, and it's interesting because I was like, Negin, you saying it like it made me sad. Like it made me. That really is what it is. It makes you sad whenever any of that stuff happens. But I think it's beautiful that you invited them in, because I think what we've lost the ability to do is to let stuff go. Like Will Smith should have let it go.
Thank you.
Like, and even when he got slapped, like I was like, it was horrible. It was disgusting.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Mike, I think you're right. It's an assault on stand-up, but like, it's just, we're in this cycle of escalatory discursive violence. Maybe not actual violence, even though the Will Smith thing is actual. Like, we are in this cycle of just of like this, and what it takes is just to be like, okay, like just do your thing. They were like, do you want to press charges? Do you want the guy? And I was like, no. I was like, I just want to
do my work. I just want to do my show. That's what people don't understand. It's like, we just want to. I always say, it's funny. You assault us, but our only goal when we get on stage is to make you laugh. That's it. That's all we're after. And sometimes we miss the mark and whatever. Okay. Two things to wrap up. First of all, when I watched the George Carlin documentary on HBO, I was sort of surprised. Jerry Seinfeld said that he's never had a comedian change his mind about anything.
Yeah, that was a joke.
What do you mean?
I don't think that's true. Comics can give you insight and change your mind. I think he was trying to be too cool for school. I don't think that's true.
Oh, you do? Because I really took that seriously, and it was kind of, I don't know. All right.
To me, he didn't seem genuine saying it. I think,
Okay.
It didn't. I didn't feel like it was true. I don't know how you could say that being around as much comedy as he's been around. That's kind of impossible.
Right.
Because all your thoughts ain't right, bro. So somebody can say something that makes you rethink a thought. You're not right all the time. It sounds like Trump when he says stuff like that.
Right.
You're not right all the time, bro.
I agree.
Comics change my mind all the time.
Same. Wrap up question. We're not in a great period here in America, and free speech is our first. It's the First Amendment. First. Do you think we're helping? Do you think our comedy is helping?
I believe so, yes.
If it's not inciting, it's helping.
Right. I mean, I don't think we incite violence.
Every night we see that, though. People coming out, oh my God, I needed this. We're helping. We're helping.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God, I needed that.
We don't need to let the doubters control the conversation. They have no power in that. Or when I'm on that stage, they have absolutely no power.
I don't know about you guys, but I think audiences have been better than ever before.
Yes.
They're so appreciative because we need it, because comedy, it's a joke is a buildup of tension and then a release, and that's what we need.
It's like going to get a massage or whatever, but for your psyche.
With a happy ending.
I just don't know that politically it's like, yeah, I guess we're helping. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't
want to live in a world without laughter.
Everybody's so depressed right now, but listen, Trump didn't win a second term, so that says something.
Yeah, right.
And you know what? They're not depressed when they're watching the three of you at your best. They're not.
Yes. And you,
Nadine.
Listen,
you can brag.
I love all of you. I really do adore all of you. And I really had a great time. I hope you did too.
Me too. It
was fun.
I want to keep laughing. That's all I want. I want everyone to keep laughing. Thank you to Alex Edelman. Go see his show. Thank you to Negin Farsad. Listen to her podcast. Read her books.
Just one.
All right. I have two. Mike Yard. I love you on so many levels. Buy tickets to their shows. Follow them on social media. Everyone's social media name, whatever, I hate social media, but follow us. And a big thanks to the WNET Group's Exploring Hate Initiative, All Arts, and our promotional partners, Unorthodox and Penn America. Thank you all so much for listening. I'm Judy Gold. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye, Judy.
Bye.